Duquesne is the 11th seed in the East Regional. They are the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament champions. They have a date tomorrow with number 6 BYU at 11:40 a.m. The student athletes on the dais are Day Grant, Jimmy Clark III, and Jake DeMichael. We'll start right off with questions for the 3 student athletes. Right here in front. Abby, please.
Abby Schnabel, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Hi, guys. This one's for all 3 of you. I just want to know what's been your initial reactions to getting to Omaha, finally getting to walk through the venue and everything, because I know it's a cool experience for all of you.
We're going to start with Day and move to the right. Go.
I think it's been a great and exciting experience, as well as emotional, because not many of us been here in this position. So I'll just say it's very exciting and just mind-blowing to me right now.
Yeah, I would have to say the same. It's definitely been emotional, you know, being able to be a part of something that I was never a part of and being able to make history with these guys. So it's definitely been good.
Yeah, piggybacking off what they said, I would just say it's kind of a dream come true. And I feel like this group of guys deserves it after all the adversity and everything we went through this year. So, yeah, it's been great to enjoy it with these guys.
Question on the aisle.
Spencer Thomas from the Duquesne Duke. So from winning the tournament to Coach's announcement on Monday, can you describe just how hectic these last 72 hours have been and how you're sort of trying to ground yourselves before the game tomorrow?
Is it a question for all 3?
Yes.
All right, we'll start with Jake this time and move to the left.
Yeah, it's been kind of a whirlwind of emotions the last couple of days, but again, I think it works for us in a positive way because it just bonds us closer together, increases our brotherhood, and in terms of Coach D retiring, you know, I think it kind of gives us another incentive to win this game because we want to send him out on the right way, and he's never won a NCAA Division I tournament game, so we want to get that for him.
No, definitely, I'll say the same thing, honestly. You know, being able to be a part of this winning culture and be able to do something that we never done, especially with Coach, it's good, especially to be on this level, at the Division I level, being able to win, so.
Definitely an exciting experience, and I'm really just blessed to be in a moment with these guys, man, and we really just want to continue to take one step forward and try to complete our goal.
Tim Benz from Triple Live and Duquesne Radio. For Jimmy, first, going back to the A-10 tournament, I know in the last 3 games there was at least one scoring lull in each game that you guys had to endure and fight off. Can you talk about how you managed to do that, whether it be second half against VCU, late first half against the Bonnies, how you managed to fend that off and still win the games? And for Day, how do you avoid that this time against BYU?
I'll say we just stuck to our game plan. It wasn't really more offensive based, it was more defensive minded, so I feel like just coming together with the guys and just locking down on defense and making that our main goal and main mindset, I feel like that helped us get through those tough wins.
And I believe helping to avoid that really is just sticking to our game plan, sticking to the way we play basketball, the way we defend, the way we orchestrate our offense, and just gel together on and off the court. I feel that would just take place and take care of everything that's not going well in the moment.
Corey Christen, DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is for all 3 of you. This is this program's first trip to the tournaments in about 50 years. Has that kind of history sunk in yet? And what was it like to get to interact with some of the fans at the send-off yesterday? And what have you maybe heard from them about what it means to get back?
We'll start with Day and move to the right.
It was a great interaction with the fans, man. Unbelievable experience. It was just great, just enjoying that moment with my teammates. I'm sorry, what were your other 2 questions? Yes, the history, I don't think the emotions have sunken in for me all the way yet on the history aspect of us accomplishing that goal, winning that championship, but I'm sure it'll hit later on down the line when we just look back onto the moment and just elaborate on it.
Yeah, I'll say the same. For the send-off, it was definitely emotional for everybody, you know, being able to be a part of something and be a part of history, so that was good for us.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of the history, I mean, I don't really feel like it's sunk it in for us yet, because I feel like partially, we always kind of believed as a team that, we could get here. So I don't really think we ever viewed it as a historical type of thing. But yeah, in the send-off, like seeing all the fans and seeing their pride for us and the university, I think it just gives us another extra level of motivation to, try and get a win and give them even something more to be proud of.
Day and Jake, can you guys speak to the impact that the guy in the middle of you, Jimmy, has had on getting you guys to this point and just the team in general?
Jake, you're first, please.
Yeah, speaking of Jimmy, I mean, he's a great leader, I would say. He's kind of a lead by example type of person more than a vocal leader. And, just seeing how he prepares every day, seeing how, most kind of star players on their teams, really only worry about the offensive end. But this guy is one of the best defensive players that I've personally ever seen. So, having a guy like that who's unselfish and willing to sacrifice anything for the team in order to win, it just makes everybody's job that much easier.
Really agreeing with Jake, man. I've never played on a team with someone just that unique style of defensive play, not only, but offensively as well. And just similar to myself, I feel like. So it just means a lot to have somebody along your side as well as Jake too, to just be able to play with that guard play and go out there and just dominate and try to just lay your hats on other obstacles other than offense. And Jimmy has helped me in that way of just helping me be a better defender. He makes me want to go and play defense even harder and show me some aspects and different kind of key tips to just be a better defender. So I'm just appreciative to have him and Jake on my team to just rock out with.
Yeah, Greg Eklund. This is for WESA, the NPR station in Pittsburgh. For Day, you know your team and your teammates. What should BYU be concerned about Duquesne?
To be honest, man, that would be on them and their scouting point. To be honest, I don't think we really focus on what they are focusing on for us. We really just game plan to do what we have to do and try and stop them and get our things done. But we're an up-tempo team. We like to defend and be physical, as well as try and execute on offense. We have guards that can go, as well as guys who can score it in the low and in the post as well. So, I mean, you can look for an all-around aspect game. We got guys who can shoot, guard, defend. It'll be a fun game, man.
Back in front, Abby, thank you.
For all three of you or whoever feels the most answered to call, now that you guys have had time to look at BYU, what kind of stands out and what did you really, other than what you guys need to prepare for yourself, but what stands out about their team and the challenges that they pose?
Start us off, Jake. We'll come this way.
Yeah, they're it's kind of a game of contrasting styles, I would say. They're like a very up-tempo team. They like to score the ball at a high rate, and, we kind of hang our hat on the defensive end. So, it should be interesting. I feel like the key to the game is trying to get them to play our style and not fall into their style of play.
Yeah, I'll have to say the same thing. Just focusing on our style of play. And something that stood out to me about their team was they have a passing five-man. So I feel like if we can, get a couple deflections, interrupt that type of style that they like to run and get off and run their shooters off the line, I feel like we'll be good.
All right, next question. Back there in the aisle.
Jake, being from the Pittsburgh area, does making it to this point make it that much sweeter for you? What does it mean to you to be doing this for Western Pennsylvania, your hometown?
I mean, yeah, it means a lot, especially just from a personal standpoint, being able to see my family at every game and stuff and seeing how much joy and pride I've brought to the people closest to me. It means the world to me, and I hope that I can just continue to keep going and keep making them more proud with every moment.
We have 5 minutes left in this session. We have a question right here.
Stu Pospisil, Omaha World Herald. This is for Day and Jimmy. Each of you came to the Dukes from another school. Is this week the payoff each of you had hoped for?
Jimmy, you're first, please.
I'll say this is definitely the payout that we deserve. I feel like this is what we deserve. This is what we came here for as well. And, just being able to come here and with different styles of play and being able to connect with these guys coming from different schools. And, a lot of us were much older, so you know, sometimes that could be a bad thing, but sometimes it could be a good thing as well with the maturity. So I feel like the maturity part played out to our favor and helped us get to this point.
I also feel that this just played out very well, and that we do deserve this moment. Although the process of getting here was the all for all. I feel like the process of us accomplishing that championship and just getting here is not the end, but it is what built us and our program, our team, throughout these 2 years to just become what we are right now. And we're just living in the moment, but we're not finished in the mindset as well.
This is for Jake. Earlier, you guys have talked about the history and it sinking in with you being a Western Pennsylvania native. Does it resonate with you perhaps more than your teammates?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say so because once you go to a school, whether you're from there or not, you kind of become part of that family. So I know for these guys, you know, they feel like they're part of the Duquesne family too. But, you know, just speaking of being a Western Pennsylvania guy, it just means a lot to me. And I know going forward, you know, even when I'm older and stuff, I feel like I'll still get recognized for that accomplishment of helping bringing, you know, Duquesne back to the tournament. So yeah, it's a great and fulfilling feeling for sure.
Anything else for the Dukes? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
No, not yet. Leave the chairs. I'll get the chair. This way.
Thank you, man.
Good job. Really good job and good luck. Good job. Good luck. Next up at 10:35, the head coach. The head coach of the Dukes is with us, Keith Dambrot, and we're going to ask him to make a statement on his team about being here in Omaha, and then we'll go to questions. Keith, please.
Thank you. We're really excited to be here, obviously. It's been a long time coming for Duquesne basketball, and pretty personal for me, obviously, when my dad played from 1950 to 54. Ironically, our pinch hit SID, Dave Saba, showed me a box score the last time Duquesne played Brigham Young was in 1952 in the holiday tournament in New York, and my dad was in the box score. He missed 2 free throws. He made 2, but I'm going to have to get on him about that in my prayers.
Questions? Right here in front, Dawn, thank you.
Stu Pospis, Omaha World Herald. Coach, what's this week been like for you?
Like any other week for me, pretty high-strung guy to begin with. Just go to work every single day, try to be the best I can be, get our team ready to play, trying to get enough sleep at my age to make sure that I'm, on my A game. Kind of ironic that, Creighton's in Pittsburgh and we're in Omaha, two small Catholic schools, so hopefully our fans will get behind them and your fans will get behind us.
Keith, Tim Bennett.
I can't hear you, Tim. No.
How's this one?
Beautiful.
There we go. All right.
Beautiful.
Tim Benz from Trib Live and from Duquesne Radio. I asked this of the players. I'll ask it of you too. You endured in the last 3 games of the A10 tournament, in each game, at least one extended scoring lull that you had to fight through. How did you manage to do that? How did you manage to survive those lulls that you had during the trip to Brooklyn? And how do you avoid such a lull against a team like BYU that can really score?
Well, it's a good and a bad thing, Tim. I mean, we've pretty much done it all season long. We've had our offensive inefficiencies at times, but it's made us better defensively. And we've known that we can win despite playing poor offense at times. I think the last game in particular, I think we just got a little bit tired, and we expend so much energy defensively, and we're in the hunt to really just make little plays and energy generating behaviors that we're trying to win games that way. So as ironic as it sounds, I didn't even know we only made 1 out of 19 shots. I just looked at the scoreboard and saw that we were ahead, and that's kind of my mindset as well.
Keith, Corey Christen, DK Pittsburgh Sports. How would you describe what BYU does so well offensively, and what's going to be the major key for your team as a defense?
Well, the closest thing that I've seen to BYU is VCU in our league. Very similar, 3-point oriented, very fluid, challenging because they can stretch you out, but they can also score inside with the big guy. Then the other big guy is a pick and pop guy, which puts pressure on you as well. Solid point guard, big and strong, and obviously an older team. I think their average age is 22.7 or something like that. So they're the hardest thing about them is they're mentally tough and physically tough, and everybody talks about their offense, but they're one of the best defensive teams in the country. And you can tell that Coach Pope's been around Coach Pitino, because they play like an Eastern type team, a tough, hard-nosed basketball team. So it's going to be a challenge, but very similar to some of the teams that we've played throughout the year, including like a Richmond who uses a lot of that dribble handoff type thing. So we've seen a lot of the things that they've done. It's just a matter now of making sure that we're the tougher team in the game, because I think that's probably an underrated thing with Brigham Young is they're tough and hard nosed, and they'll throw forearms into your chest and test your toughness. And I think that's probably something that people don't talk a lot about with them.
Coach Abby Schnabel, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Jimmy gets dismissed from VCU, and he thinks he's never going to play basketball again. You decided to give him a second chance, and you've spoken about that, but I'm curious as to why you decided to give him a second chance.
Well, Mike Rhodes, who was a former coach of VCU, and I are good friends, so I did my due diligence and my homework with Jimmy, and Mike swore by him as a human being. And then look, one of the reasons Jimmy came to Duquesne was because I went through a similar situation. You know, obviously different circumstances, but we kind of seeked redemption together, and so we hit it off immediately because of my issues and his issues. So I haven't had any issues with Jimmy Clark. He's been a great guy to be around on a daily basis, and I'm happy that, you know, people are willing to give young people an opportunity when they make mistakes, because I certainly made some.
Coach Spencer Thomas from the Duquesne Duke, you told me on Monday that during the games in the Atlantic 10 tournament was some of the least nervous you've been. Do you anticipate that remaining the same this weekend?
You know, I've had a whirlwind of emotions, but, you know, I looked around the arena many, many times, which I hardly ever do or have ever done. I think when you go through some hard times, you start to change your perspective as to what's important and what isn't important. We put in our hard work on a daily basis, and now it's time to enjoy the moment, which I haven't done a very good job of throughout my career. I know I've talked to Shaka Smart about this because he was with me at Akron. You know, a lot of time in this business, the lows outweigh the highs, and I think all I've tried to do now is to try to enjoy the highs and not worry about the lows.
Over on the left side here, Keith.
Coach Greg Eklund, this is for WESA, the NPR station in Pittsburgh. With two major developments within the basketball program, one, making the tournament, and two, your announcement, how concerned were you, if at all, that there would be more attention on you since your announcement than the team?
Well, I've never wanted it to be about me. But by the same token, I wanted those guys to be 100% sure, you know, what they were dealing with in the future. And so there's never any great time to announce something like that. I thought about doing it after the Davidson game earlier in the year, and then I just didn't. Dave Harper, our athletic director, thought this was a good time to do it. But this isn't about me. It's about a bunch of guys that withstood an 0-5 start in the league, you know, showed enough resilience to power their way back. And, you know, that's what it's about.
Coach, you guys have become known for your defense. It's your guys' calling card. How much of a hand has Jimmy Clark had in creating that defensive identity for you guys?
Talking about the Pittsburgh Steeler, you know, he steals the ball at the highest rate of anybody I've ever had, which sometimes drives me bananas because he'll take some risk. But the one thing that I know as a coach is when people have ability, you have to let them loose. You don't want them to play tentatively, and you have to live with the good and the bad sometimes, you know. And that's one thing LeBron taught me when I coached him was you got to let guys like that loose, and that's what I've done with Jimmy.
Coach, when you look back at the send-off you guys received yesterday from the city, the alumni, the fans, how much did that mean to you? How gratifying was that to see, given all you've been through with this program?
Again, like I have a little different perspective. I'm just happy for the city, for Duquesne and their donors and the alumni and the school and the board of trustees and especially the president and the athletic director, because Duquesne's been investing in basketball for a while now and hasn't had any results. And at some point that gets old and discouraging and self-fulfilling, and you want to quit or drop basketball, or you want to get out of the A-10, or the A-10 doesn't want you. Thank God Bernadette wasn't like that. But it's just nice to know that when they invested in that, you know, gutting the arena and all the money they put into the program, that they got some results out of it. So I didn't really view it as much for me or even for the players, although it's an unbelievable deal for both of us, but just for all the ghosts of not being able to play in the NCAA tournament for 5,000 years.
Coach, what did you see in Day that wanted you to bring him into the program?
I'm going to come right back to that. I also have to mention that this young man in the front row, Ray Goss, he's been our radio announcer for 57 years. right? He's 87 years old, and his brain's way better than my brain right now. So for him to be able to, and he wasn't there when my dad was there. I don't know why. He should have been doing it when he was 13 years old or whatever. But for him to be able to call an NCAA tournament game, to me, is a great thing. I'm happy for him. So to answer your question now about Day Grant, why I decided to bring him in. So I'm from Northeast Ohio, Akron, Ohio. Day's from Lorain, Ohio. Very similar type communities. The rubber companies kind of moved out of Akron. The automobile industry moved out of Lorain. We've made our living with Northeast Ohio guys throughout the years, all the years I've coached. We recruited him out of high school and didn't get him. He went to Miami of Ohio. And look, most of those guys that play well in the MAC and leagues like that play well in our league. And so we knew we had a good player in him. Is that it?
No. Got two here in the aisle. Go ahead, please. Pick one, Gina.
Keith, speaking of the ghosts, your guys are playing for a campus that hasn't seen an NCAA game in 47 years. A lot of them are playing for you, playing for the staff that may replace you. How are they about playing for themselves, and how has that kind of helped them through a lot of this?
I think the biggest thing with this group that I've noticed is just their togetherness, their brotherhood. I got Dr. Joe Carr here in front here, who's a sports psychologist, has been with me since I was at St. Vincent St. Mary. So that's a long time. And he's helped build our brotherhood. And this group is particularly tight through good, bad, ugly, great. They've stuck together. Like every family, we have our issues, but they've done an unbelievable job of just rallying around each other. Because really in this business, the teams that are player-driven win, and the teams that are coach-driven don't. So that's the biggest thing with this group.
We're under 3 minutes to go. Questions right here.
Coach, how close is Trey to being able to give it a go, and will he be able to play Thursday?
Trey Williams, you mean? If it was up to him, he'd play, but we're definitely not going to play him. It's a threat to his professional career, and so we're going to keep him out. But he wants to play, but that will not happen.
Anything else for the head coach? Right in front. This will probably be our last question.
Mary Genrich, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Going back to August, Keith, did you feel that there was something special about this team going back all the way to the start of the season?
So, Mary, you never know really how teams develop, what's going to happen throughout the year, how it all plays out. I think it took us a while to figure out what the proper niche was for our team. We tried to play a little faster early in the year, and now we kind of pick and choose. I've always been a defensive-oriented coach first, but I've been an inside-out coach most of my career, and this team is not an inside-out team, so it took a while for us to figure out how it all pieced together. So to answer the question, look, we thought we were going to be competitive. We thought we could play with everybody in our league, which, people don't understand how good the Atlantic 10 is. I think, look, I've been in college basketball most of my life, and I didn't even know. The one thing that people don't understand is the coaching at our level. You're talking about guys like Frank Martin and Archie Miller, and we had Bob McKillop, and now his son Matt McKillop, and you're talking about Fran Dunphy. You're talking about Hall of Fame coaches. This is a league that is basketball centric and spends a lot of money on basketball, and has a commissioner that cares about basketball, and it's a tough league. So you can be very good and not be very good in the league, and so it's a difficult. Like we beat George Washington, who finished last in our league, and we had to squeak by in the last regular season game of the year. That's how good a league it is. They have good players and good coaches, and it's an unbelievable league. So to say, well, we knew we were going to be here, nobody in that league knows they're going to be here because it's such a difficult league. And probably I'll say it's the most undervalued league in college basketball. and people don't know about it, but nobody really wants to play teams in the Atlantic 10. You got Chris Mooney, he's an unbelievable coach. I mean, you talk about the Princeton offense, he is the Princeton offense. He played for Coach. So and St. Louis, and you can go right down Rhode Island, you go right down the line. It's an unbelievable league. So to answer your question, no, I didn't know exactly where we would be, but I knew we could compete.
Keith, thank you very much. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks so much.